Topic 17 ABAP-Based SAP System. Topic 17 is ABAP-Based SAP Systems. An SAP system consists of several components such as a database and one or more SAP application server. So what is this line? So up to there, what they're telling means after installation is completed, is okay, not okay, leave it after installation. When you see ABAP system, inside database, and one or more application servers. Actually, this application servers is called as SAP instances previously. That only they're telling that. That is the first point. One or more application servers. So what they're telling is clearly, when you see ABAP-based SAP system, you have database and how many instances you install, you see there. In your ABAP-based SAP system, you have database and how many instances you install, you got there. So here you saw database. This is the database. So in ABAP-based SAP system, this is database. Here, this is remaining instances. How many instances I install? They show all the instances. That is the first part. So in every ABAP-based SAP system in company, you see every ABAP-based SAP system. Inside ABAP-based SAP system, compulsory database is available. And how many instances you install, that instances they show. So that is the first part. Now, what are the instances available? What are the instances that available? First of all, you want to know database instance. It is one of the ABAP-based SAP system instance. Next, ABAP Central Service Instance. In shortcut, you called as ASCS. That is another instance. Another one is Primary Application Server Instance. In shortcut is called as PAS. So Primary Application Server Instance previously called as Central Instance. And one more important point, in olden days, when I'm learning, means so before 2016, I think, before 2016 year, for example, select database, installation, application server. Here standard system is there. But before 2016, it is central system. Before 2016, that name is central system. Central system name. So, central system name changed as standard system. So before 2016, then I'm learning time, means so 2012, 2013, like that. On that time, central system is there. In central system, central instance, database instance. That means when I'm learning time, before 2016, there is no ABAP central service instance. So on that time, we install only central instance and database instance. Here you remember these three are mandatory instances. Mandatory means you want to maintain one SAP system is compulsory that three instances you want to install in ABAP-based SAP system. Here you saw. When I select standard system, here they're telling Install an SAP NetWeaver AS for ABAP 7.5 to ABAP system with all instances on single host. So standard system, when you select standard system is, they're telling you are installing all instances in single host, same computer. What are the instances here? They're telling mandatory instances of SAP NetWeaver AS for ABAP 7.5 to ABAP system. Now you want to know what are the mandatory instances. ABAP Central Service Instance, in shortcut, is called as ASCS instance. Database instance, primary application server instance. Compulsory, you want to install ABAP system is compulsory. These three instances you want to install. Compulsory. So here you see means I installed. This is database. This is ASCS instance. This is primary application server instance. I installed. So here, not only NetWeaver AS ABAP 7.52, you select, you are installing SAP S4HANA server, you are installing SAP NetWeaver 7.5, you are installing SAP ECC system, you are installing SAP Solution Manager 7.2 ABAP. On that time, compulsory, you install these three instances because these three instances are mandatory instances in ABAP-based SAP system. You had to. So without installing ACS instance, it is possible to install that ABAP system. It is not possible. Without installing database instance, it is possible to install ABAP system. It is not possible. Without installing primary application server instance, it is possible to install the ABAP system. It is not possible. So that's the telling. There's three are mandatory instances. When you are installing ABAP system, compulsory you want to install these three instances. Compulsory. So that one only they're telling here. So here, starting with AS ABAP 740, each newly. Nowadays, when you are installing any ABAP system, compulsory ASCS instance will be installed. But in olden days, ASCS instance will not install. But now when you are installing any ABAP system, compulsory these three instances we want to install. So in ABAP system, after installation is completed, these three instances is available. So that they told about here. Here you saw primary application server instance, previously called as central instance. So that means when you install ABAP-based SAP system, inside ABAP-based SAP system, ACS instance is available, database is available, primary application server instance is available. That's the 10. Okay, now here you want to know what are the application server instances is available in ABAP-based SAP system. That is very, very important point. You want to know what are the application server instance. What are the application server instance is available inside ABAP-based SAP system. Okay, first of all, before knowing this question, I already told these three are mandatory instances. Only these three instances. Is there any instance? Another two instances is there. Additional application server instance. In shortcut, it is called as AS. Additional application server instance, previously called as dialog instance. Means when I'm loading time, additional application server instance name is dialog instance. When I'm loading time, primary application server instance name is central instance. I think 2015 or 2016 onwards, central instance name changed as primary application server instance. Dialog instance name changed as additional application server instance. And next, into replication server instance, in shortcut is called as ERS. Okay, here you have doubt. Here only three instances they showing. For ABAP system, only 3 instances they're showing here. Remaining instances means remaining instances also is there here. Additional application server instance, NQ replication server instance. Total 5 instances. In ABAP-based SAP system, total 5 instances is there. In these 5 instances, this is a mandatory instance. Compulsory you want to install. And this is also mandatory instance, compulsory you install. And this is also a mandatory instance, compulsory we install. These two are not a mandatory instance, additional instances. Depending on requirement, we want to install. Now, here question is there. What are the application server instances is available in ABAP-based SAP system? In these 5 instances, which one is the application server instances? 1, primary application server instance. It is one of the application server instance, and another one is additional application server instance. This is another application server instance. These two only application server instance. In name here you saw primary means you think like main or first. Main application server instance are you called as first application server instance. That means in this 2 application server instance, which application server instance we want to install first? Primary application server instance. After installing primary application server instance, we install additional application server instance. These 2 only. Here you saw, you remove this one, you read application server instance. Here also, you remove this one, you read application server instance. Here also, you remove this one and you read application server instance. Additional means extra application server instance. So in ABAP-based SAP system, in this 5 instances, these 2 only application server instances. In these 2 application server instance, first we install primary application server instance. First application server instance. Which application server instance you installed first? That is the question. Which application server instance we install first? Answer is primary application server instance. After installing primary application server instance only, we install additional application server instance. That is about this entire. And one more important point. What is that important point, miss? Here you see, this is primary application server instance. This is additional application server instance. Where I install primary application server instance, in that system only, I install additional application server instance. Here now here what I done, where I install primary application server instance, in that system only, I install additional application server instance. You install like that, or otherwise, you install primary application server instance in one system, you install additional application server instance in another system. Like that also is possible. And one more important point, here I install primary application server instance in NWT system. It is NWT system now. It is NWT system. In NWT system, I already installed primary application server instance. Now, I want to install another primary application server instance. It's not possible. Already in NWT system, already you install primary application server instance. Only one primary application server instance only installation is possible. But additional application server instance, there is no limit. You install so many additional application server instances. In company, for production system purpose, they install more than 20 additional application server instances. There is no limit. But in primary application server instance, there is limit. But in additional application server instance, there is no limit. Here is there. Now they're asking you, they're telling to you, it is possible to install 2 or more instances of one SAP system and also instances of different additional SAP systems on the same host. Here, how many instances I install? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 instances I install. What here they're telling? It is possible to install 2 or more instances. Yeah. You install so many instances. And one more point here they're telling, and also instances of different systems they're telling. Different system is, okay, here in this system only, I put another system ID and install Java system also. And additional instances. Here I already installed additional instances also. So these 3 only mandatory instances. These 2 are additional instances. So in your SAP system, you install additional SAP system instances or otherwise other SAP system. For example, this is ABAP system. You install Java system instances also in this system is possible. And you install additional instances also is possible. When installing several instances on the same host or different SAP system, means of the same or different SAP system on the same host, make sure that the chosen hardware is able to handle the load. Okay, what they're telling is, here, remember very, very important point, there is no limit. In one system, how many instances installation is possible? There is no limit. You install so many instances. You have doubt. What is that doubt means? First of all, here you see, every instance, they show computer name. This is computer name. VH call NWDCI is computer name. This is also computer name. Every instance, they define by computer name, and this is instance number. 20, 21, 22, 24 is the that is instance number. Instance number is 2-digit number 002 to 97. Actually, when I'm loading time, instance number 002 to 99 is there. But nowadays, 98, 99 instance number is not there. Why means so? SAP router purpose, they reserve that 98, 99 instance number. That's why nowadays instance number range is 00 to 97. Instance number is 2-digit number. How you identify your instance? By using computer name and instance number. So here I tell this is ASCS instance. This is primary application server instance. How I tell? By seeing instance number. This is additional application server instance. How I tell? By seeing this instance number. So by seeing instance number, you identify your instance. Here you have doubt. Sir, when installing time, we provide instance number to instance. So when installing time, we are providing instance number to instance. On the time, I provide same instance number to all instances is possible. It is not possible. Every instance, you want to maintain different instance number. Different means unique to. Unique to means different. Every instance, you want to maintain different instance number. Now you have doubt. What is doubt? Doubt means, I already told instance number is 2-digit number 00 to 97. Okay. Here, very, very important point is, already in NWD system, ASCS instance is installed. It is not possible to install another ASCS instance in NWD system. Only one ASCS instance only is possible to maintain in NWD system. That is one important point. Already here, primary application server instance is installed in NWD system. Only one primary application server instance only maintain is possible in NWD system. Another primary application server instance is not possible to install in NWD system. Okay. So ERS also, okay, already installed. Another ERS is not possible. Okay, now additional application server instance is there. You install so many additional application server instance. There is no rule. Now, you have doubt. Instance number is 00 to 97. That means 98 instance numbers is there. 98 instance numbers is there. So, 98 instances only is possible to install in ABAP-based SAP system. What you are telling, there is no limit. You install 200 instances, 300 instances. Is there possible? You are telling there is no limit. How? How means? Okay, here in NWT system, I install 98 instances. Now I put NWJ system, I install Java system. Java system 98 instances is possible. I put ECD system, means SAP ECC, I install 98 instances in same system is possible. Like that, there is no limit. In one system, you install so many instances, there is no limit. But depending on your hardware, that means depending on your RAM, depending on your hard disk, depending on your hardware only, it is possible to install instances. Your laptop, your server is supported only 5 instances or 10 instances, means that instances only is possible to install. Why means depending on your RAM, depending on your hard disk size only, it is possible to install. How many instances is supported in your laptop, that instances only is possible to install. But there is no limit. You install 1000 instances also, but depending on your hardware, how many instances is supported in your laptop for installing, that instances only is possible to install in your laptop. In case you install several PS instances on a shared host, be sure to consider topics such as upgrades or restore scenarios. So one system may need be recreated from backup while the other system is being used without interfaces. For example, what they're telling that point means, in this system only, I put NWD. This is NetWeaver AS ABAP 7.52 system. I put ECD and install SAP ECC system. Okay, on that time, I'm upgrading ECC system. On that time, I don't disturb the system. Why means this system is running, users login into the system and doing their business. In the same server only, another ECD system is there. I'm upgrading SAP ERP 6.0 EHP7 to EHP8. On the time, in same server only, here upgrade is running. On the time, this system will not disturb. That only they're telling. Okay, now here, when possible, use unique SAP system IDs within a company. In case you install several SAP systems using the same SID within your company, special care and measures need to be taken. What that point means, in ABAP-based SAP system, every SAP system you want to maintain SAP system ID. You called as system ID or you called as SID. What is system ID means? This one only. By using that system ID, you identify your system. How you identify me? By my name, like that. How you identify your system? By using that SAP system ID. In company landscape, you see means every system, they maintain different SAP system ID. Why means, suppose I buy software from company, SAP company. SAP, they provide SAP system ID to me. What I done? I use same SID and install software in 10 different systems. Means same SID I'm using for 10 systems on the time. SAP, they take action on me. Why means every system we want to maintain different SID. Why means SID is cost. We want to make some amount to SAP and take SAP system ID. That's why by using same SID, you did not install in all the systems. Every system you want to maintain different SAP system ID. Already you know types of SAP systems. ABAP-based SAP system and Java-based SAP system. Now, in ACS instance, what is available? Now we want to know that one. In ABAP Central Service instance, what is available? So what is available inside of ACS instance, you called as software components. What is available inside ACS instance, we called as software components. Now I show what is available inside ACS instance. Here you have doubt. Here for database, there is no instance number. Why means by seeing this icon, you understand this is database. That's why for database instance, there is no instance number. Now I open ACS instance. I click process list. Here in ACS instance, message server is there, NQ server is there, web dispatcher is there. In ACS instance, message server is there, NQ server is there, web dispatcher is there. But here in figure you see means gateway also is there. Actually, this web dispatcher and gateway is optional. Okay. So by default in ACS instance, NQ server is available, message server is available. When I'm learning time in 2016, before 2016, when we install ACS instance, only NQ server, message server is there. Okay. So nowadays, when you're installing SAP system time, you got optional. In ACS instance, you want to install web dispatcher. In ACS instance, we want to install gateway like that. On that time, I select web dispatcher. That's why web dispatcher is available inside ACS instance. By default in ACS instance, message server, NQ server is available. When installing time, they ask you, in ACS instance, you want to install web dispatcher. In ACS instance, you want to install gateway. On that time, I select web dispatcher. That's why here web dispatcher is there. So in ACS instance, message server, NQ server, web dispatcher, and gateway also is there. By default in ACS instance, message server, NQ server is available. By default in ACS instance, message server, NQ server is available. Okay, now we got it clearly in ACS instance what is available. We got it clearly. Here you saw this is entire one system. In this system only, primary application server instance is there, ACS instance is there. In company, what they do means in one system, they install primary application server instance and ACS instance. Okay, now we got it what is available inside ACS instance. Now we want to know what is available inside primary application server instance. Okay, I expand primary application server instance, click process list, dispatcher, IGS watchdog. IGS means Internet Graphics Server watchdog, gateway, ISM. ISM is Internet Communication Manager. And here AS means application server, ABAP, WP means work process table. Click this. Here, what is available inside this AS ABAP WP table? It is called as work process. What is available inside AS ABAP WP table? It is called as work process. Now, AS ABAP WP table. DIA means dialog. DIA means dialog work process. DIA means dialog. It is one of the work process. UPT means update. UPT means update. Update 1, 2 types is there. Updates, 2 types is there. Update 1, update 2. BTC means background. BTC means background. SPO means spool. SPO means spool. UP2 means update, second update. UP2. Update 2. These are all work process. Means dialog work process, update work process, background work process, spool work process, update to work process. Work process. Okay. So you got it clearly what is available inside primary application server instance. Work process is available, These are the work processes available inside primary application server instance. And not only work process, we have dispatcher, IGS watchdog, gateway, ISM. Now we have doubt. Sir, why in primary application server instance work process is available? In ACS instance, work process is not there. Why? Why means in ACS instance, why work process is not available means because ACS instance is not a application server instance. Work process is available inside application server instance. Work process is available inside application server instances only. So in application server instances only work process is available. That means clearly primary application server instance and additional application server instances. In the two application server instances only work process is available. In which instance application, in which instance work process is available, in that instance only user's login is possible. In which instance work process is available, in that instances only user's login is possible. That means in ACS instance work process is not there. Why means ACS instance is not an application server instance. That's why in ACS instance work process is not available. That means in ACS instance user login is not possible. In primary application server instance user login is possible, because in primary application server instance work process is available. That's why. Now what is available inside primary application server instance? Same is available inside additional application server instance. Open additional application server instance. Dispatcher, IGS watchdog, gateway, ICM. Work process, same. That means in primary application server instance and in additional application server instance, user login is possible. What is available inside primary application server instance, same is available in additional application server instance. Okay, here when we install 750 and higher releases, so here they show primary application server instance, they show like D21, D instance number. Additional application server instance, they show like D instance number. D21 like that. When we install 740 and lower releases, they show like DVE BMGS instance number, like that they show. Okay, here also you saw in operating system level, here also you saw this is my installation drive. Okay, this is my installation drive, USR, SAP, SID, ACS instance, they show like that only, ACS instance number. Whatever releases you take, 740, 731, 750, whatever releases you take, ACS instance, they show like that only, ACS instance number. But when you install 750 and higher releases, primary application server instance and additional application server instance, they show like D instance number. But when you install 740 and lower releases, primary application server instance and additional application server instance, they show like this, DVBMGS instance number. And NQ replication server instance, they show like that, ERS instance number. And one more important point, how many instances you install, they show all the instances. For example, Now I install another additional application server instance. I got D23, another D24, D25, like that. How many instances you install? They show all the instances. They create one folder for every instance. Now you got it and you have doubt. What is your doubt, miss? Here, what is available inside here? What is available inside primary application server instance? Same is available inside additional application server instance. But why we put two different names? Why I call this is as primary application server instance? Why I call this is as additional application server instance? Why I don't call both the same names? Miss, why miss? There is a difference. In interview, they ask you, what are the difference between the primary application server instance and additional application server instance? That is the question they ask you in interview. What the difference here is that? In this image only difference is there. Here you saw. Primary application server instance and ASCS instance is available in single system. Additional application server instance is available in separate system. That is the difference. When primary application server instance and ASCS instance is available in single system. That is the difference. Okay, that is the difference. There is no further differences to additional application server instance except that the ASCS instance shared the same host with the PS. That is the difference. There is no difference to additional application server instance to primary application server instance. What the difference means? ASCS instance shares the same host with the PS. Primary application server instance and additional application server instance is available in single system. That's the only difference. Remaining everything is same. Now finally we want to see about NQ replication server instance. NQ replication server instance is not a application server instance. Process list, only NQ replicator is available. In NQ replication server instance, only NQ replicator is available. In NQ replication server instance, why work process is not available means because NQ replication server instance is not a application server instance. That's why in NQ replication server instance, work process is not available. An instance requires a minimum of 2 dialog work process. Otherwise, it is not possible to start the instance. This application server instance, in primary application server instance, dialog work process is there. 0 to 10 dialog work process is there. Minimum 2 dialog work process compulsory you want to maintain in primary application server instance or in additional application server instance. Minimum 2 dialog work process compulsory you want to maintain. Suppose you did not maintain 2 dialog work process in primary application server instance or in additional application server instance, what will be happen is that instance will never start. So that is a rule. Compulsory in application server instances, compulsory we want to maintain minimum 2 dialog work process. That is the rule. So I already told several instances can install on the same host. Each instance on a given host must be a unique instance number. Every instance you want to maintain different instance number. The instance number is a 2-digit number, 00 to 99. And one more important point, that instances number not only for identify the instances, they provide standard communication ports also. For example, here they tell, in application server instances, dispatcher is there. So 3 to $. Now here, in primary application server instance, dispatcher is there. Now dispatcher port number is 3 to $. 3 to 21, dispatcher port number. Now in additional application server instance, dispatcher is there. So now additional application server instance, dispatcher port number is 3 to 22. That only they're telling. Dispatcher port number is 3 to $. Where dispatcher is available? in application server instance, dispatcher is available. So in the place of $, you mention that instance number. For example, here you saw, for example, if the instance number 00 is to ChooseNet installation, the dispatcher port number is 3200. In the place of $, we put 00. ACS instance. The ACS instance, so before 2016, there is no option SAP Web Dispatcher Gateway you required like that. From 2016 year onwards only, in installation time, they ask you in ACS instance, you want to install a Web Dispatcher. In ACS instance, we want to install Gateway like that. From 2016 year onwards only, they asking. Before 2016 year, they don't ask that one. But when I learning time in 2013 on that time, there is no ACS instance. I think from 2014 onwards, ACS instance option is available. From 2016 onwards, when installing time, they ask you in ACS instance, you want to install Web Dispatcher, you want to install Gateway like that, they ask you. So here you are learning. So here they're telling instance. Instance is also called as application server instance. Previous name is instance. Nowadays, instance name changed as application server. Nowadays, instance you called as application server. Here you saw. Do not use the instance number 98 and 99 because they are reserved for the SAP router purpose. So that is about ABAP-based SAP system. Here in ABAP-based SAP system, you got it clearly. How many instances is available for ABAP-based SAP system? In that instances, what are the instances are mandatory instances? In that instances, what are the instances are additional instances? In that instances, what are the application server instances? In which instances work process is available? In which instances user login is possible? Remaining instances, why work process is not available? So what the difference between the additional application server instance and primary application server instance? And how many additional application server instance installation is possible? How many primary application server instance, ACS instance, database instance installation is possible in one system? So these are the what are available inside ACS instance, what are available inside ERS instance, what are available inside primary and additional application server instance. So first, which application server instance we install and what are the mandatory additional instances? These all instances. Then is you want to maintain same SAP system ID to all the SAP system or different SAP system ID. What is instance number? What is the use of instance number range? So when installation time, we provide instance number. So this every information. So total, you got it clearly. ABAP-based SAP system. Here what I done, I install all instances in single system. Here I install all instances in single system, but in company they install like that only. Primary application server instance and ACS instance they install in single system. ERS instance they installed in separate system. Additional application server instance they installed in separate system. And database, the database can be installed on a different host to the PAS. Like that. Every instance they installed in separate system, but only ACS instance and primary application server instance they install in single system. So this is about ABAP-based SAP system. It is the minimum knowledge compulsory. We want to learn about ABAP-based SAP system. That is the topic 17. In topic 17, we are learning what are the instances is available, what is available inside instances, what are mandatory instances, what are additional application server instances. So these are all information you learn in that ABAP-based SAP system topic 17. So topic 17 ABAP-based SAP system topic is completed.